Hello students, today we'll discuss life processes chapter 6 of class 10, and this is a very lengthy chapter, so I have divided into small portions. So today in this part, this is part 1, in this part we'll discuss the properties of living beings and the comparison between living and non-living beings. Then the life processes, the processes which exists in life, and then under life processes there are several processes, but in this part we'll discuss only nutrition and what are nutrients, then mode of nutrition. Okay, and in mode of nutrition you will discuss about the autotrophic mode of nutrition. Okay, so let me start with the properties of living beings and how it is compared to non-living things. Now let me tell you what are the properties that is present in living beings which are not present in non-living beings, or you can say how the living beings are different from the non-living things. Okay, so the living beings can move from one place to another place. That means they have properties of movement. Next, they have properties of growth. That means they can grow. Then they need food for their survival, the living beings. And then excretion, they can excrete. That means the removal of the waste materials from their body. Okay, then the next process is the respiration. That means they inhale oxygen and exhale carbon dioxide. Then the next process is the reproduction. They can reproduce, they can produce their own kinds. So these are the criteria or the properties of living beings which are not present in non-living things. Okay, so on the basis of these features we can differentiate the living beings and the non-living things. Okay, but the most of the biologists consider movement as the major criterion to decide whether whether something is living or non-living. So here we'll discuss about the plants and the animals, whether they are living or non-living. Okay, so if somebody will ask you that if we are considering movement as the major criteria, then how plant can be living? For animals it's okay, they can move from one place to another place, they can move their body parts, so they are living, it is proved. But when we are talking about the plants, how can you believe that the plants are living things? Do they move? Yes, of course. But what is the difference between the movement of animals and the movement of the plants? The animals move from one place to another place. The whole body of the animal can move from one place to another place, and it is a fast process. That's why we can observe it, and it is noticeable movement is there in case of animals. But in case of plants also the movement is taking place, but it is a very slow process. Okay, so that's why it is not clearly observable, but it doesn't mean that they are not having these properties or this process is not carried out in case of plants. Okay, so let me tell you the example that when you keep a plant near the inside a room near the window, then what will happen? The stem and the leaf will move towards the light, but during the course of movement you cannot notice that they are moving, but as a whole, as the growth takes place towards the light, as they move towards the light, the bending of the stem towards the light shows that the movement is taking place. But unlike animals, the plants can move their body parts like leaves, flowers, roots and shoots. But in animals, the movement is subjected to both the whole body as well as the body parts. So we can shift our body, whole body from one place to another place, as well as we can move our body parts. But in contrary, the plants can move their body parts only. So anyway, both the organisms are having this criteria, that is the movement. That's why the animals and plants both are living, and the movement is considered as the major criterion by most of the biologists to decide whether something is living or non-living. Okay. Now we'll discuss the life processes. So what are the life processes? Process, it is a continuous thing that it has a start point and it has a end point. Okay, so the processes that takes place in a living organism are called life processes. And why these processes are required to be held in the living organism? To sustain life. So what is life process? Life processes are the processes that is undergoing in the living organisms to sustain life. And what are the life processes? Nutrition, reproduction, excretion, respiration, growth, circulation, etc. Okay, so these processes are very much essential for the survival of any organism or to sustain the life. Okay, next, the first process I was telling you, that is your nutrition. Nutrition is the most important process, life process, because without food or without nutrient, no organism can survive. May it be plant, may it be animal, may it be any microorganism. Okay, then what is nutrition? Nutrition is the process of taking the food into the body, then converting the food into simpler form so that the simple food can be absorbed by the body, and then the removal of the undigested food from the body. So all these processes are together considered as nutrition. Okay. Now, why nutrition is required for a living organism? Why do we need nutrition? The nutrition is needed to provide energy for doing any activity. Okay, so we do work, we walk, we think. Okay, we do many such works, and for that, even when we are sitting, there is a thinking process going on in our mind. So for that also we need energy. For movement of our body, we need energy. For movement of our body parts, we need energy. To do some work, we need energy. So for all this purpose, we need energy. And from where we are getting this energy? We are getting this energy from the food or the nutrients. Okay, so that's why the nutrition is very, very essential process, and that is one of the most important life process. Okay, now the next one is your nutrients. So when we are talking about nutrition, we must know what is nutrients, what are nutrients, and what is the difference between food and the nutrients. Food means anything that we eat. Okay, we take Lays, we take burger, we take pizza, we take rice, we take dal. So all these things are food. All the eatables are food. But among these food or in any type of food that we are taking, are all the parts taken by our body? Are all the parts of the food are essential for our body, for survival, for growth, for obtaining energy? Absolutely not. So the food has several components, and those components of food which are very essential for our body, for our growth of the body, for the survival of our body, say, then that is known as nutrients. So what is nutrient? The nutrients are the components of the food that is essential for the growth of the body and survival of the living organism. So what are the nutrients, or what are the components of the food which are very essential for the living body? They are carbohydrates and fats, then proteins, vitamins, minerals, waters, and no doubt raw fish. Okay. So now what is the role of these components in our body? Let me tell you in a nutshell. So carbohydrates and fats are the nutrients which provides energy. So they are taken as the source of energy. Okay, and these are found in wheat, rice, corn, chocolates. Okay, so carbohydrate is the immediate source of energy, and after the carbohydrate is finished, then the fat in our body is converted into carbohydrate, and from the carbohydrate we get the energy. Then the next component is your proteins. So proteins are the body building, or you can say these nutrients are used for the making of the body parts like skin, blood, bone, okay, and muscles. So all these structures of the body are made with the help of the proteins. So only protein cannot support the growth of the body parts. Along with proteins, the vitamins and minerals are also the components of the food, or you can say the nutrients which are used for making the body parts. Okay, so some of the examples of protein are your elastin, keratin, then collagen, and besides that, many types of vitamins are there, that is vitamin A, B, C, D, E, and K. Okay, so these are the different types of vitamins, and these vitamins are very specific in their role. Okay, and besides that, very important minerals are also required by our body. They are iron. Iron is meant for making the blood. Then calcium is the most important component, or the nutrient, or the minerals that is required our body, and it without calcium no metabolism in our body can be carried out. I can't say no, but most of the metabolic process cannot be carried out. For the functioning of the cell, for the preparation or for making the bone, for making the tooth, all these things, for all these things the calcium is required. Or even in the cell, for the transportation of the, for the transport of the materials into and out of the cell, also calcium is required. So these nutrients, that is protein, minerals and vitamins, are present in onions, fish, potato, milk, beetroot, and in almost all the vegetables and fruits. Okay, so here I can show you some of the carbohydrate rich fruits like banana and other cereals are there. Cereals, you know, rice, wheat, bajra, these are all cereals. Okay, then you can see the food with high fat, that is fatty meats and the fish, then cheese, butter, avocado, nuts and seeds, and chocolate. Then you can see the protein rich food. The protein rich foods are mainly your pulses in that is plant product, in plant product, and but in animal product the protein is present in egg, fish, also in meat. Okay, but the major source of protein, different types of protein, is our pulses. Okay, and besides pulses, your coconut is also there. And what are pulses? Pulses are the grams, green grams, black grams, rajma, simply grams, peanuts. These are all coming under your pulses, and they are very rich in protein. Then these are the foods which are rich in protein, minerals and vitamins. That includes your carrot, squash, apricot, broccoli, papaya, meat, fish, peach, melon, avocado, mango, egg and cheese, and pepper. And so many other foods are there. Here I am showing you only few. Then next come to the mode of nutrition. See, when we are talking about nutrition, it is a complex process. It is the method of obtaining the food and then digesting it, simplifying it, absorbing it by the body, then removing the undigested materials. So is this process is same both in plants and animals, or is it same in higher organism and lower organism? That we'll discuss here. So basically there are two types of nutrition, two mode of nutrition, that is autotrophic mode of nutrition and heterotrophic mode of nutrition. So autotrophic mode of nutrition, we are very much aware of this, and this autotrophic nutrition, in this autotrophic nutrition we'll discuss about the nutrition in case of plants. And auto means self and trophe means nutrition. So self nourishing, who are self nourishing? Obviously the green plants. The green plant can obtain, they can synthesize their own food by the process of photosynthesis. That's why they are known as autotrophic. They are having autotrophic mode of nutrition and they are known as autotrophs. So not only the green plants, the algae, the green algae which contains the chlorophyll, are also capable of synthesizing their own food. So they are also autotrophs, and the mode of nutrition is your autotrophic mode of nutrition. The next is your heterotrophic mode of nutrition. In hetero means other, trophe means nutrition. So in a heterotrophic mode of nutrition, the organism depends upon other organism, other living organism for their food. That means they get the ready-made food from other living organisms. Okay, so the heterotrophic mode of nutrition, in this type of nutrition, the organisms are dependent on other organism. Okay, and they are taking the ready-made food. So in the next part we'll discuss in details the autotrophic mode of nutrition in green plants in step by step. Okay, and I hope up to this your concept is clear, and if you have any queries, you can ask me in the comment section. Thank you.